What's going on, broskies? So, I know I don't normally react to videos. My channel's not directed towards a reaction type commentary video standard, but every now and then I'll find a video that has a lot of insight, and in this particular case, there is a video circling around the internet, especially on YouTube, where this well-informed person has looked into public record and is clarifying some things for all of us that are not that well informed when it comes to big tech and AI in particular. Now, of course, there's some basic use cases for AI, but this whole conspiracy and this whole notion that AI is somehow going to demolish the world and do all of this stuff, it's not as convoluted as you think it is. And I think this video kind of clarifies and reaffirms my notion of AI's place in the tech community.
Hey guys, it's Sasha. This week OpenAI announced that they will pay AMD about $100 billion for 5 million graphics cards. At the same time, AMD announced that they are giving $100 billion back to OpenAI in the form of stock. A few days before that, OpenAI also announced that they will be buying $200 billion worth of graphics cards from NVIDIA, and at the same time, NVIDIA is going to invest $100 billion back into OpenAI. The problem is, NVIDIA doesn't have $100 billion to give to OpenAI, but that's where the third deal comes in, because OpenAI is going to give Oracle $300 billion to use their data centers. Oracle is going to take the $300 billion and walk it across to NVIDIA to buy approximately 3 shit tons of graphics cards to shove into their data centers, so that those data centers can actually be used by OpenAI. And then NVIDIA is going to take this money that they just received from Oracle and use that money to invest in OpenAI. Did you get all that? No? Well, don't worry, because in this video I am going to explain a completely unrelated concept called round tripping. Round tripping is a common type of fraud where companies just pass each other the same money in a circle to mutually inflate their valuations by pretending that they are doing more business than they actually are. It's like if there were 3 people standing in the room, right? And each one of them had a business. And all of those businesses were brand new. They've never made any revenue. Then business A goes and gives business B $100 and says, "Thank you, it's a pleasure doing business with you." Then business B takes that same $100 and goes and pays it to business C for, I don't know, some services. And then business C takes that same $100, goes back to business A and pays that $100 back. So now each business has $100 worth of revenue.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but normally I like to get wined and dined before I get fucked. And honestly, that's what big tech is doing. They're taking advantage of the consumer, the economy, and they're fucking you all. And I think we should really pay attention to this type of stuff.
OpenAI's current valuation is 50 times their annual revenue, so that would make each of these 3 companies that just passed around a $100 bill worth $5,000. And you can raise money at that $5,000 valuation and collect a whole load more than that $100 from investors. That means that when they go to investors...
Did you know you can AFK Bloods and Zaya whilst learning to code in Python? Go to boot.dev. We've known our...
Thank you.
To collect the latest funding round, their valuation will be $5,000. And they can then use all the money raised to pay themselves really fat salaries, have a pretty good time. Now, round tripping is a practice that is generally considered illegal in the United States and many other countries around the world because it artificially manipulates the market. It artificially pumps the stock. It's a form of securities fraud. So clearly, just so there is no misunderstanding, I could not possibly insinuate or suggest that the tech bros at all of these companies would be doing something that is illegal to enrich themselves. That is 100% definitely not what's happening here.
Right, but who the fuck is tracking any of this when there are so many proprietary distractions happening at the same time? We're still having conversations about topics that happened months ago, and months ago, a lot of those issues still haven't been resolved. And this is happening right under all of our noses.
But But while we are looking at these companies, I thought I would walk through exactly what has happened in the last few weeks and draw it on a handy whiteboard so that you can see for yourself how this AI bubble is in no way whatsoever a really obvious example of round tripping that is happening right in front of us in the open, because tech bros get to pick and choose which laws apply to them. Laws like securities fraud, copyright protection, those only apply to schmucks like you and me, not the cool kids wearing hoodies in Silicon Valley. So let's start at the beginning. This story really starts when a bunch of investors along with Microsoft find $58 billion down the back of the sofa and give it to OpenAI in various funding rounds. Immediately after all of that happens, OpenAI takes those tens of billions of dollars and gives them back to Microsoft to use the Microsoft Azure data centers. Microsoft takes the $10 billion that they've just received from OpenAI after they gave it to OpenAI in the first place and goes and gives them to NVIDIA to buy graphics cards to put in their Azure data centers so that OpenAI can then train their models using those graphics cards in the Microsoft data centers. But Microsoft are not the only ones buying graphics cards from NVIDIA. Google, Meta, xAI, and Amazon are all standing in an orderly queue buying the same graphics cards that are now being sold for 4 to 6 times the price that they used to be sold at before ChatGPT arrived in November 2022. All of these guys, all of these companies also have their own AI work. None of it actually makes any money, but it sounds really cool.
Did you catch that part? None of it's actually making anyone any real money. It's not.
It's pretty futuristic, right? When you tell girls that you work in AI on a Saturday night out. Just kidding. Of course, if you are a tech bro working in AI, you don't have time to go out on a Saturday. You're too busy coding to conquer the world. Anyway, then along comes Anthropic, another AI startup. And they also collect a load of money from investors. And the biggest one for them is Amazon, who give them billions of dollars to Anthropic, and then Anthropic takes those billions of dollars and gives it right back to Amazon to use the Amazon Web Services to train their models, just like what Microsoft did. It's exactly the same, but just with a different company. xAI is a bit of a weird one. They're building their own data centers, and xAI was originally founded by Elon Musk. And to finance xAI, Elon Musk sold a load of Tesla shares, which at the time didn't do wonders for Tesla stock. He used a chunk of that money from selling the Tesla shares to buy Twitter, and then a separate chunk to start his AI company. Of course, xAI should have never existed in the first place because Tesla is a publicly traded company that also operates in AI. In fact, according to Tesla, 100% of their valuation should be based on AI, not the cars that they're making. And there is a clear conflict of interest because Elon Musk is the executive director of both companies, the essential person in charge of both companies. And he has basically siphoned out money, talent, and IP to build a startup that directly competes with Tesla. Now, at the time when this happened, the official line that was parroted by all the fanboys, of course, was that this is completely not the case. xAI is all about large language models, and Tesla is all about full self-driving and robotics, and these are not the same thing at all. They attract completely different people, blah blah blah. So the work that Tesla does is apparently completely separate, in no way related, would not benefit from...
Only it's the same fucking thing. It's exactly the same programming model, just directed at two different things.
Having this basically the same line of work using the same GPUs for the same sort of thing,
right?
It would not be beneficial to have that within Tesla, which is precisely why now that xAI has merged with Twitter and pretty much run out of money because they've been burning so much cash, they are trying to get Tesla shareholders to invest in xAI. It is Proposal 7 at the Tesla annual shareholder meeting regarding board authorization of an investment in xAI. And a direct investment in xAI would strengthen Tesla's access to cutting-edge AI technologies, talent, and intellectual property. You know, the things that Tesla would have access to anyway if Elon Musk did not siphon that entire business line out of Tesla, but the Tesla fan club on Twitter is wildly celebrating this opportunity, this proposal to hand over loads of money to xAI because they, I think, suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. But I digress, a bit of a tangent. xAI also just collected some funding from, drumroll, NVIDIA, and that lets XAI take the money that they just received from NVIDIA to buy more NVIDIA graphics cards for their Colossus 2 data center that they are building in Memphis. So the result of all this activity is that every company on this whiteboard has seen...
Hey, at least there's going to be more work for the IBW in Tennessee with those data centers that they're never going to fucking finish.
An absolute explosion in money moving in and out of their bank accounts and cash flow, because you see money moving between them in a sort of round trip kind of way. And the biggest benefactor of this has been NVIDIA, whose share price has gone up over 1,600% since ChatGPT arrived less than 3 years ago.
What
so
the
now
fuck?
that NVIDIA is rich, they are printing money. We have got this new wave of announcements coming. These ones are...
Ski and ride Breck with Epic Day Pass.
Oh, we got another ad?
Buy now and pay less than lift tickets.
Why would I?
Don't
Why-
just buy crypto. Trade the price action
Don't
with
buy
futures.
crypto. Don't
Regulated
give them
futures
your
from
money.
CME
Give
Group
me your
let
money.
you go short
give
as
me the
easily
money
as you
instead of
go
that.
long.
bigger. NVIDIA is going to invest $100 billion into OpenAI. They don't have even remotely close to $100 billion they could invest, but that does not matter because OpenAI is going to apparently take that $100 billion and use it to buy $200 billion worth of NVIDIA's chips. OpenAI recently had to raise $6.6 billion because the company is currently burning money. They're burning over $1 billion per month before accounting for CapEx. With CapEx, I don't know, but presumably they're probably spending a few $1 billion a month. I don't know. So the company that is currently absolutely incinerating money, losing a shit ton of money every month and keeps doing funding rounds for relatively small amounts to keep them going, is going to buy $200 billion worth of chips from NVIDIA with the $100 billion worth of investment that they're getting from NVIDIA. You're following this? This makes complete sense. And not all of the money that they are planning to spend is coming from NVIDIA.
No, what I hope that a lot of people also understand this when it comes to manufacturing and fabrication of silicon chips, and when it comes to that type of tech industry, there is a whole layout that would require us physically, if we were to start from point A to point D, if we were to go and try to replicate that, which is what America's been talking about wanting to do recently, if we were going to try to replicate that, it has been proven that it would take about 35 years. You cannot replicate that same industry that China's economy has been able to structure itself around. NVIDIA's become a monopoly, and why is no one else talking? Like, I mean, I watch Gamers Nexus all the time, and of course there's this guy, but like, why does the common person not, why does this not trouble you? You know?
There is more. Remember, they also said that they will pay $300 billion to Oracle to use Oracle data centers. And Oracle is going to pay those hundreds of billion dollars to NVIDIA. And NVIDIA is going to collect those hundreds of billion dollars from Oracle and use that money to invest more into OpenAI. And then remember that we also have the AMD deal that just came out. OpenAI will buy $100 billion worth. It doesn't seem that you can go less than $100 billion now. That's the minimum. That's the minimum of a good AI announcement. They're going to buy $100 billion worth of AMD graphics cards alongside the NVIDIA graphics cards. But because they don't have the money to do it, AMD is giving OpenAI 10% of the total amount of AMD stock. Because then OpenAI can leverage that stock and benefit from the stock going to the moon and borrow money against it to pay for the graphics cards. You know, you're in a very special kind of bubble when the biggest companies in the space are going heavy leverage, not just on their own stock, which is pretty crazy in itself, but also on the stock of other companies that they are cooperating with in the same space. And it's not just OpenAI. This is how these deals are getting done. xAI's current funding round includes $7.5 billion in equity and up to $12.5 billion in debt through a special purpose vehicle. The chips the company purchases will be leased to xAI for 5 years, allowing Wall Street financiers to recoup their investment. So instead of buying the graphics cards using debt, they are letting investors buy the graphics cards because that's off the books, and then lease those cards to the company for 5 years from the investors, which is probably roughly the useful life of these graphics cards anyway, running at 100% capacity for the entire duration. This is by no means a complete picture of what's been happening. There are other players like CoreWeave, a data center company that is now doing deals with both Nvidia and OpenAI for tens of billions of dollars, money moving back and forth. And there are dozens and dozens of other players in this space. You can keep writing stuff on this whiteboard forever. And the weird thing is that OpenAI's current revenue is running at around $10 billion a year. Anthropic is at about half that, on about $5 billion a year. So that's $15 billion per year from the two big ones. And the rate of growth is now slowing to below 100%. It's on course to be below 100% relatively soon. The biggest growth at the moment is coming from businesses, from companies who are paying for those commercial licenses for their developers, for staff. They're not really checking exactly how many licenses, they just like dish them out to everybody, and staff are all using AI to do whatever work they're doing. Those are just the revenues though.
Oh, and Hollywood is definitely using AI. Have you seen some of those TV series and movies that have been being fucking coming out? It's like they don't have any fucking original concept for themselves. They just keep replicating and regurgitating the same shit every fucking month.
Because remember, there are no profits. Because all of these companies are losing money on all of this revenue instead of making money. The more revenue that they take, the more money that they're going to lose. But at the same time, we are seeing these endless announcements every week about hundreds of billions of dollars moving between these companies. Dollars that don't actually exist, will not actually exist, will never exist. All of this movement is just on paper. It's Fugazi. You know that? I give you $100 billion, you give it to that guy over there, that guy is going to give it to that guy over there, that guy's going to come back and give it back to me. We've all made $100 billion. The valuations of these companies are now astronomically high because there is an expectation that in the long run, they will figure out how to make money. Maybe it will be through ads. I know, you're looking forward to that, I bet.
No one's gonna fucking get a subscription with ads for an AI software.
The issue is at the moment that ads enter these chatbots, you're immediately going to lose a giant chunk of the appeal, a giant chunk of trust for using LLMs in the first place.
No.
Imagine the ethical dilemma of recommending products or services
I don't even want to use it now.
For which OpenAI gets paid from the ad revenue, from the company's advertising, instead of maybe recommending other better products that do not happen to advertise in ChatGPT. At the moment, there is no business model in this space that can actually feasibly run at a profit in any short, medium term, because the physical cost of producing the answers is higher than what people are currently prepared to pay for those answers. And I just don't see a world where people are prepared to pay 10 times or 100 times what they're currently paying. Over time, this cost is not decreasing, it is increasing because of LLMs becoming more expensive to run and because users are increasing the usage per dollar that they spend, and the expectation of how much usage they get keeps going up. So tech companies have come up with this new solution. Just keep passing the money around in ever increasing amounts. First, invest 5 billion, you give me back the 5 billion. Now it's up to 100 or 200 or even...
Yeah, man, they're lying to us all. Big tech is really bending us over and fucking us, and it's just like no one's seeming to look around. Look around and look at where the money is going and what's actually being developed or evolving with tech. It's not happening. Not at the same fucking extramental rate that we're all imagining of some super high-tech fucking civilization. We're still fucking animals, and most of us are still lower than average IQ.
Even $300 billion per announcement. I guess right now we're just seeing what happens. If valuations keep going up and the SEC keeps sitting around just holding their private parts in their hands, doing nothing, maybe these companies will start literally announcing trillions of dollars of investment into each other. I don't know, why not? We're only 3x from there. Today, the world has never in history seen an example of round tripping, even to a fraction of the degree that's happening right now between these companies. There is almost no precedent for things like companies donating 10% of their own publicly traded shares worth about $30 billion, because they know that the moment that happens, their share price is going to go up so much that they will immediately get tens of billions of dollars worth of more value in the business, and in the long run it'll probably be 100 billion or more because of the hype that is being generated. There are only two ways that this can unravel. Either these companies figure out a way to quickly earn about 20 times what they currently earn in revenue, and at the same time figure out how to turn a minus 130% margin into a plus 20 or 30% margin, or the house of cards will eventually come crashing down when the infinite money glitch finally runs out of infinite money. I think I am going to send out a newsletter with some more thoughts on this. If you haven't signed up, the link in the description. It's free. Go and sign up. And
yeah, dude, please give this guy a shout out. It's Sasha Yanshin. That's the YouTuber, and his video is Big Tech is faking revenue. But I really just wanted to show you guys because this type of thing is affecting the world right now, and I think more people should be aware of it. I personally find it revolting as somebody that's interested in this type of stuff and sees prices go up and down and fluctuate, mixed in with like how are they managing their money? How are the people in charge really fucking handling this type of thing? And it makes no fucking sense in my opinion. It's revolting. But yeah, give Sasha a like and watch some of his content. He's been doing really good stuff. I'll check you guys later.